Okie dokie, it's the 1st of September 2015. Now, swing is looking better all the time. Let's get this back on the right track. Now, I zoomed in on your grip, and this is a little bit on the strong side. We want the range to be from the right shoulder, so there would be where it's pointing. You see that V is pointing over here? We want the range to be right there to the chin, and the right hand should be from, it's almost in the ballpark, it's still just a little bit strong, so we need to get them both just up a little bit more up on top. Show you what one looks like here. Nothing wrong with being a little bit strong. Strong means turned a little bit to the right, but when you're hooking the ball, one of the easiest things you can do is move that hand up on top. See, that's a rather strong grip. And then you look at him with both hands on here, and he tones down the left one a little bit, and then he gets the right one a little bit more on top. So you see, I can only see 2 knuckles here, and you can see about 3 knuckles here. Excuse me, I apologize. Something's in my throat. But this is a little grip trainer that'll allow you to feel it. That's basically what I'm talking about. This is 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Then this will be about 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And you're about 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So feel that. Oh, goodness. So it's just your left hand's a little bit more on top, and then your right hand's a little bit more on top. Make sure that, thumb fits right into the lifeline of that left hand. It'll just eliminate some of that flipping and hooking. Because if you look at your hands, if they're over here and you come into a good impact position, if they're too closed, then it just causes that to go a little bit too far left. All right, so we'll continue on with that one. Just going to back away here in a second. So I'd like to see a little bit more lean back to the right, and we'll see from the back view that the shoulders are a little bit open. So if the shoulders are a little bit open, that means they're pointing a little bit left. Hey, how's it going? So, oh yeah, you bet. So if the shoulders are a little bit open, that's going to make you pull the ball just a little bit too. So getting those shoulders jacked around to the right a little bit would be good. Now watch what happens with that grip as it relates to the club face. Strong grip, particularly with the right hand, makes that club face close a little bit at the top. See how that club face gets really shut first thing back? It's largely the grip influence. Now see that club's kind of disappeared at the top, it's so closed. So when it's pointing up to the sky, it's closed. You can see that by looking at this. That would be a square face when you're looking at here. And if you look at the top of the swing, that leading edge should match up with your left forearm. If it's closed, it's pointing up at the sky. If it's pointing down to the ground, it would be open. So if I had a really weak grip like this, then the hand would tend to open up and it would be really open at the top. So your grip's just a little strong, and it's not that we can't live with a strong grip, but if you have a really strong grip, you have to have amazing body rotation through the ball. So Dustin Hoffman, I like a stronger grip rather than a weaker grip, but maybe a little too strong, especially if it's going left. And I never talked about that before, and I would have. I don't remember the grip being that strong. I think it was too weak. You just kept going in a good direction, got a little bit strong. So once you realize that range is from the chin to the right shoulder, it's just more of a 1 and 7 type of a configuration. Now our task is when we get there, to get those hands over the right thigh. It's not something you think about in the swing. Pick anybody here. Gary Woodland is a long hitter, but when you look at him as he gets that club down to parallel, goodness, that's slow. So when the club gets down to parallel, the hands are over the thigh. See, so what that means is you lost a little bit of the wrist cock. So that's a position I think we touched on a little bit last time, working on that position. You can't think about it in the swing, but you just kind of practice swinging down to that position and go, okay, where am I? I'm not here. I got to get those hands down a little further. You're just releasing the right wrist a little bit early. But good weight transfer, all that stuff's good. But if that club is releasing and it passes your hands, see how the club face is closed from the grip? Closed club face and a little bit of a club passing your hands, that's tons better than it was. But if it passes your hands with a slightly closed face, it's going left. And the one before that didn't was just a matter of timing. You just timed it right. Had your stars in alignment, as I say. So we need to concentrate on that 3 foot through position that we talked about right here, and get that really stretched out. It's an annoyingly slow video. So yeah, when he stretched 3 feet through with a club head, his arms are a little bit more stretched out. So that's a good one to practice just with a wedge. And we touched on that a little bit last time, but it takes a good while to get that built into your swing. Because I always had a little bit of a flip in my swing, even though I was playing really good golf from a pretty early age. But and I'll show you something here that should make you feel better. This is what we want, and this is what we want. So he's coming through the ball more of a one-piece type deal where the triangle is extended and very little collapsing of the arms, or chicken wing as it's called. However, let me show you the greatest player that ever played, arguably, was Jack Nicklaus. This is a close-up of Jack, just the business end here. And what you'll notice is that as he came into the ball, he had that lag we're talking about, so he had a position that's going to allow the shaft to lean forward. So he had a forward-leaning shaft, and he really compressed the ball because the shaft was leaning forward. Now watch the next frame. That's awful. So that's real flippy. But he just had perfect control over the club face. So every time he flipped it, the club face didn't close, like yours is closing and his is staying more square. So that's one of the reasons why he had a weak grip to allow for his flip. Because look at his hands. See how he's got his hands in a much more neutral or weaker position. So grips it's not written in stone. You can look at grips and you'll see some strong grips and you'll see some weak grips. But one thing for sure, they need to match up with what you need. You know, if you're hooking the ball and you have a strong grip, that doesn't really fit too well. So a little weaker grip would make sense. Get kind of in between where you started and where we are now. And then we'll work on that lag and stuff. Goodness.